guys everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be taking the Transformers Legacy Leader Class Laser Optimus Prime. Before we take a look at him, let me say a few things. So recently I did pass 400 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is so cool, so I'd like to thank all the people who like my videos, who comment, who watch, or who subscribe, and of course all the people on my Instagram. Thank you. Thank you so much for supporting my channel and my Instagram page. That's super cool. So I'd like to shout out 3 subscribers of mine. So at the very end of this video, usually when I'm doing my final thoughts of the figure, which is the very end of the video, I will be shouting out 3 subscribers at complete random. So I do want to let you know, if I've shouted you out before and on Instagram or in any other live streams, no, I cannot shout you out again. So these will be 3 brand new people that I've never mentioned on my channel before. So if you want to make sure you might be shouted out, make sure you stay tuned through the entire video. At the very end, shout out those people, of course, then I'll give my final thoughts of the figure. So of course, this is not my only subscriber special. Actually, of course, there'll be the review. I'll also be doing a 400 subscriber stop motion, which will take a lot more time, of course, because it will be a very big one. I'm hoping it will probably be my best one yet. I'm going to spend so much time on it, probably a few weeks maybe. Who knows? This figure here will be included, but several more Optimuses, and even several more Megatrons. So I'm not going to give it all away, but it will be really cool, and I hope you like it. So I think that's all the information out of the way. Let's get into this review. So here we have the packaging, which looks amazing. So of course we have a nice shot of artwork of Optimus Prime there shooting his really cool shoulder missiles. We have a nice artwork of the truck there, which looks really good. We have the Legacy logo. We have Transformers on the side. Moving to the side of the box, of course we have a nice shot of Optimus and the truck. I do apologize if it's glared at all or anything. And moving to the very back, we have 3 shots of artwork. One of this really cool kind of mechanical workstation, which is made out of the oil tanker. Of course, a nice shot of the truck there, which looks really nice. And a shot of the nice robot mode, and of course it transforms into 30 steps. And if you want to scan that barcode there, it can show you all the stats of the figure on a website. And moving to the side, of course, we have a nice shot of all the Autobots. We have Optimus, Hot Rod, RC, Blaster, and Bulkhead. And I think that's Cybertron, and I think that is Earth at the top. So overall, I think the packaging looks super cool. I'm really glad for these leaders, how they're doing no plastic, because this artwork looks amazing. I've seen Blitzwing's artwork for the next leader in Wave 2. His box looks super cool. Definitely going to keep this one. I think that's pretty much it for all the beginning stuff. Let's now get into the figure himself. Here we have Legacy Laser Optimus Prime. Let's take a look at the details. We're going to start at the very top with these shoulder sections, which look really nice. I do like that nice silver. Of course, there's these really cool boosters there, which are very nice. We have some nice yellow and gray. And moving to the side here, of course, we have some nice black and red in the flame detailing. Some nice silver for the inner part of the tire, and some black for the outer part. And moving to the back here, we do have this nice truck piece with some silver for these pipe sections, some black. I do really like how they sculpted in some headlights there on the top, and some blue for the windows, which looks pretty good. There's also some blue on the side as well, and there's a little mirror there, which looks pretty good. And moving to the chest region, I do like that nice silver, which looks pretty good. Almost kind of a gunmetal gray as well. Some blue, some gray, and you can see the Matrix of Leadership poking through there, which I will show in just a second. We also do have the really nice head sculpt with some silver for the mouth guards, some blue for the eyes, and some blue for the main helmet section, and some nice white for that crest section, which looks pretty good. For the arms, they're actually pretty simple, mostly done in red, with some blue for the hands. And now getting to the lower part of the figure, for the main waist and crotch section, it's really done in that nice gray. Also, the top of the legs are mostly done in gray, with the lower legs mostly done in black. And the feet, toes are done in blue, with the heel spurs done in black as well. And the back here, I think it's mostly pretty clean, of course, besides this truck piece, which I think actually looks pretty good. And the legs, of course, very clean, well compact. Overall look very good. So overall, I think the details of this figure look really cool. So now let's get into some of the features and accessories for this figure. So now for accessories and features, let's start at the top with the shoulders. So what you can do, which is a really cool feature in my opinion, you just move these panels up, just like this, and it will reveal these really cool missile pods, which is super cool. So you can recreate that really nice scene that was on the box. I think when this was first revealed on PulseCon Day, I was like, okay, this figure is awesome. I want it right now. This looks so cool in my opinion. Unfortunately, no, they do not fire. There's no actual like missile or spring-loaded feature, which is unfortunate. And no, you cannot actually plug blaster pieces onto those, which is unfortunate. I think they're really just for display in pictures and stop motions, but I think it still looks pretty damn cool. And if you want to have have a Blastovic picture feature, you can just close these, and there's these areas right here where you can plug those in. So definitely, he is well equipped for battle. Let's now get into the accessories. So he does come with a Matrix Leadership, which is this one right here. So there's some nice silver, some orange, and some nice blue for the crystal. And for a Matrix comparison, here is the Earthrise one, here's the Legacy one. So this is definitely more of an oval shape. This is a little bit more stretched out and long. So there we go. And how this works is you can just get this panel right here. And I do like how they actually sculpted in some nice detail in that red. That looks pretty good. And then you can just pop this right into place just like that. And there we go. And then you can just close that right up nice and secure. I actually do like how you can still see some of the handle and that silver through the glass. That looks pretty cool. So let's now move into some of the accessories. So he does come with a pistol, which I usually will most likely keep with the trailer, but still I'm going to show it just in case. So it's pretty simple, mostly done in black, and you could probably plug some blaster pieces onto the end of that, which is pretty cool. And then of course you can get the handle, just plug it into there, and then you can fire at will. So definitely he is well equipped with some firepower, which is pretty cool. But again, most likely I'll keep that with the trailer, which is pretty nice. And if you want to with the blaster, you can move back here. There is a port and there is a peg, and you can just store that just like that, nice and securely. So there we go. And I'm just going to take that off and put it off to the side. Now moving back to the front, he does come with two Energon-infused weapons. He comes with a sword, which is pretty cool, mostly done in blue, of course. Very nice, very see-through, very clear blue. And there is a little tab there, and it will just go into that empty cavity in his hand. So you're just going to slide that right into place, just like that, so he can slice and dice some Decepticons. Of course, if you wanted to, you could put it in the other hand, but I'm going to put it in this one. And then he does come with this other Energon-infused weapon, which I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. People I've heard say it's like a shield. I've heard people call it an axe. I really don't know what it's supposed to be, because typically shields do not have handles like these. Usually they just kind of plug onto the arm, but it really can't do that, so that's kind of weird in my opinion. An axe would most likely be sharper. It's kind of too rounded to be an axe, so I don't really know what it's supposed to be. It looks pretty well sculpted, I have to say. I like the blue and all the details in there. I do like the nice darker gray for the handle. And of course you can have him hold it. You just slide that right into there. And then he can hit them with his disc thing, and of course slice him with his sword. And of course he has those missile pods and that blaster, so he is definitely well equipped for some Decepticons and Megatron. So accessory wise, I think they did a really good job. I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to be. It still looks cool, so I guess that's good. Overall, let me know what you think of these accessories. Storage wise, that's pretty much it. Of course, you can put the blaster on the back. For the sword and shields, that's pretty much it. You can only really put them in his hands. There is some alternate storage, of course, for the vehicle mode. So that's pretty much it for the accessories. Let's now move into some comparison. So starting off with the comparisons, here we have all of the Legacy Autobots of Wave 1 together, which looks pretty cool. So of course, here we have Legacy RC, Legacy Skids, Legacy Optimus, and Legacy Prime Universe Bulkhead. So I think all these Autobots look pretty good together. I think probably the weakest is RC. Still a really good figure, but it has some problems. Let me know what you think of these Autobots and which one is your favorite. If I had to pick one, probably I would have to pick Optimus. He just looks so cool. He's so big and bulky. As you can see, height-wise, he is even taller than Bulkhead. He is massive, and I think he is super cool. Let's move on to some more comparisons. So now for some Legacy Decepticon comparisons. Here we have Kickback, Skywarp, Iguanus, and Dragstrip. As you can see, really, he just towers over them. As you can see, even the core classes just barely reach past his knees. So you can really see he is a pretty big figure. Of the Decepticons, I would say probably my favorite is Dragstrip. He is an outstanding figure. He is an amazing. He's also, of course, my favorite Stunticon, so I might have a slight biased opinion, of course. But also, the core classes, Iguanus is amazing. Outstanding figure, probably my favorite core class yet. Kickback I have yet to review. I'll make sure to review him very soon. But as you can see by now, of course, I have completed the entire first wave of Legacy, and I am definitely very impressed. Let's move on to some more comparisons. And now for one final glamour shot, of course, here we have the entire Legacy Wave 1 together. Of course, we have Skywarp, Iguanus, Skids, Bulkhead, Dragstrip, Optimus Prime, Kickback, and RC. Again, I think I am thoroughly impressed with this wave. Yes, I think RC does have a few problems, and Skywarp isn't the best core class figure, but I would definitely not call RC or Skywarp a bad figure. They are definitely figures that I would highly recommend to pick up. Definitely the highlights are Optimus and Dragstrip. They're amazing figures. And Skids, he is so much fun to play with. And Bulkhead, he is super cool, very big and bulky. I love his Wrecking Ball and his really cool SWAT shield. And I'm really looking forward to Wave 2. Let me know think is your favorite figure of Wave 1. And if you can't pick one, just pick 2. I know it's really hard. They're amazing figures. Let's move on to some more comparisons. And of course, we're going to get into Articulation, then Transformation. So here is a quick Optimus Prime comparison. So here we have Authorized Optimus Prime, here we have Legacy Optimus Prime, and Siege Optimus Prime. So I thought I'd do this comparison just to show, of course, how Optimus Prime has progressed over several years, of course, since the beginning of the War for Cybertron trilogy and the end, and of course, the start of a new trilogy, the Legacy figure. So people were concerned about Earthrise and Legacy being too similar in sculpt and design, and I have to say they are pretty much completely different. Yes, the legs are slightly similar in design where the feet and the knees are concerned. They both do have similar transformation styles with these panels and the feet collapsing. Also, of course, Siege does the same, but of course, with the chest, the shoulders, the head sculpt, it's pretty much completely different. The accessories are completely different, and just taking a look, of course, at the Legacy and Siege, there's pretty much no similarities. But still, three really cool Optimus that I do recommend. Probably my favorite is, I'd have to say, is the Legacy one. I love all the really cool features like the shoulders, the accessories, and of course his alt mode is amazing. We'll get into that later, of course, after transformation. Between these three Optimuses, which one is your favorite? And again, don't be worried, they're not that similar pretty much. They are completely different figures. And Siege and Legacy 1, they're pretty much completely different figures as well. Let's get into two more comparisons, and then we'll finally get into Articulation. So I thought I'd do another Optimus Prime comparison. So here we have the Titan's Return, the Legacy, and the Platinum Edition Optimus Prime. So I thought I'd bring these all together because they all actually share a lot of similarities. If you see the shoulder design, they all have that really cool missile design there, which is pretty cool. Of course, these two don't have that flip out missile pods if you move that panel, but they still do have that sort of design there, which is pretty cool. They also do have that really cool sword, which is very nice. And they all do actually transform into the same sort of oil tanker truck thing, which is very cool. I will bring them out, of course, when they're alt modes a little bit later in the video. So I thought I'd just do this comparison because it's actually really cool how figures from all different genres and all different years can actually be very similar in design when you really weren't expecting it. When this was first revealed, actually, I was thinking, I have an Optimus that actually looks a lot like that. And then, of course, I brought out my Titan's Return version, and I was like, wait, don't I have another? And then I brought out my Platinum Edition one. I'm like, wow, these are actually all really similar. It's really cool, but they still, of course, have their differences. Like Optimus here from the Platinum Edition line, he does have a light up feature, and of course Titan's Return has his Titan Master, so they have their own little twist on it, which I thought was pretty cool. But let me think of these three very different but very similar Optimuses in the description down below. Let me get one more comparison, and then we will finally get into transformation and articulation. So here we have our final comparison. Of course, this is the G2 comparison. We have G2 selects Megatron and Transformers Legacy G2 Laser Optimus Prime. I had to make this comparison. I think they look really cool next to each other. And I'm not saying anything, but Megatron here actually might make a slight appearance in my upcoming 400 subscriber special stop motion, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But these two figures look super cool, and actually is really cool how this figure came out like 2-ish years ago during Earthrise, and of course this figure is here now, so it's actually surprising how long it took to complete this dynamic, you know, combat duo. So I'm very surprised that we finally got to complete this, which is super cool. I was really not thinking about this Optimus at all when I got this figure. I was never thinking, oh yeah, a few years from now we're going to get a G2 Optimus, and what do you know, we get one. So that's really cool how they're kind of branching figures from several years ago, you know, maybe a year ago, together with this really cool Legacy line. So this is really cool to see. Let me know think of this really cool duo. Would you like to see maybe more G2 figures for them to make? They've made several, of course, Selects ones, Seekers mostly. I think that I'd really like to see more in this Legacy line. So let's finally move on to articulation, then transformation. Let's now get into articulation for this figure. So starting at the very top with the head, it's on a ball joint, so it can move all the way around. It can't really look up that much. It can move a little bit down. For the main shoulder section here, it can actually hinge in, which is pretty helpful whenever you want to access this section here. There's also this panel which you can move up so it can be out of the way. So it can move that far back, that far forward. It can move out and in. There is a full 360 swivel, an elbow joint, and of course hand rotation, like that. And if we just move this out, kind of straighten everything up, there is waist rotation, there is a full split, and of course there is a knee bend, and of course you can kick that far forward, and you can kick that far back, and of course there is a swivel, very tight one, and there is an ankle tilt. So pretty good articulation for a leader class size figure. To be fair, of course, these main sections here cannot actually move. They can only hinge in. That's all they can do. So some of it is a little bit limited, but overall I think it's pretty good. So overall articulation is check in my book. Let's now move on to transformation. Now let's get into transformation. So we're going to start at the waist. So what you're going to want to do is rotate it completely around, just like that. You can then go to the arm, hold it, bring this panel out, bring in the hands, just like that, close that up. Go to the other arm, of course. You can hold it, bring out this panel, just like that, close it up, and just like that. And then what you're going to want to do is go back here, open up this section, collapse that in, just like that, and then you can get the head, bring that down just like that. And then what you're going to want to do is go to the chest piece here, disconnect that. As you can see, this will sort of like hinge back or like angle back. And then you're going to want to move the shoulders up just a tiny bit so you can then disconnect the arm and do something like that. Do the same thing on the other side, hinge the arm back, and then so to make clearance so you can get these panels, hinge those down just like that. And there you go. And then you can see these cavities here. You can bring in the arm just like this, bring in the arm just like this, and then you're going to want to hold the shoulder, rotate it around to where this port is facing up just like that. Do the same thing on the other arm. Hold at the shoulder, rotate it around to where that port is facing up, and of course the final result will be something like this. Of course, it's a little messy, but it'll be a little bit cleaner in a little bit. And then what we can do is just make sure there's a little bit more collapse down, straighten everything up. We can then get to this piece. So you're going to fold this section in. As you can see, there's this empty cavity right there. You're going to want to pretty much flip this inside. Sometimes it can be a little tricky because there can be stuff in the way. You just got to kind of bear with it. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. Gotta kind of wiggle it in, because unfortunately, of course, the shoulders can be kind of a pain. And that should be good, just like that. So you pretty much just flipped it in, and that's pretty much it. And then you can use this hinge the shoulders up, just like this, and as you can see there is slots there and tabs there. Tab that into place, and there we go. And then you're going to want to hinge these pieces down, because then you can get these tabs and these slots, and then you can just close that up just like that, and there we go. Then you can kind of move these up again just to get some room. And then you're going to want to hinge this in, and then you're going to want to get the legs and move them up. So then that just kind of filled in that cavity there. And then for these panels, if you can see, there is a tiny little hole there in that piece, and there is a tiny little tab right there, and there is a slot and a tab, and that will just sort of work together like that. And there we go. Same thing on the other side. Tab that into place, and then you can bend at the knee, use your nail, and there's this little panels, and this is where it gets kind of similar to the Earthrise Optimus Prime. There's these little panels. It's the exact same step as Earthrise Optimus Prime. He had these little panels like that. You can then tab the legs together, hinge this up, and then of course these little sections will go right on top of those panels that I just moved. So just go right on top, just like that. Do the same thing for the other arm. Go right on top, just like that. You can then collapse the feet in, and then that should almost be it. You can just go to the bottom, bring these little canisters out. Sometimes I don't put them out because they're very floppy. They just kind of, they're really loose. So you can put them in or out. That's really just for detail. And that is pretty much it for Optimus Prime truck mode and transformations. So let's get into the details. Now let's get into the details of the truck mode. So of course, starting at the very front, we have the nice silver and red and black for that really nice flame detailing. There's also some yellow and some nice white for the window, for the lights I mean. Some nice silver and black for the wheels. Also of course on the windows up here, nice blue. You can see a little bit of the kibble, but it's not too bad. Of course also some silver for that smokestack and that auto symbol. That looks pretty good. And up top, of course, mostly done in black. We also do have some sculpted in lights. That looks pretty good. And there's some pipes there, some canisters done in gray. Nice step ladder done in red. And of course, the wheels back here are actually slightly different from the wheel up front, but of course, still done in that black and silver design. That looks pretty good. And up top, mostly simple back here, really done in that black, but lots of nice sculpting and detailing. You can see there's like some containers there and canisters, lots of really nice sculpting and detailing. And on the other side, of course, that same detail repeated, except there is no Autobot symbol on this side. There's some nice blue back here, but of course these are the feet just folded up. But overall, quite nice in design. Overall, very, very good. So now let's get into storage for the accessories. So first up, for his sword, it's overall pretty simple. Sometimes it stays, sometimes it doesn't, so you just want to flip it on the the bottom of it, of course. There is 2 slots here and here. And there is 2 tabs right there and there, and you're really just supposed to kind of align this up just like that. And sometimes it stays, sometimes it doesn't. Really just gotta flip it over, of course. Sometimes it untabs, which is unfortunate, but sometimes you're lucky and it does stay. Now, for the weird shield/axe weapon, you're just going to use this peg, just hinge this in, and there's these 2 tabs, and there is these 2 slots right there, so you're just gonna align that right into place, and then that just stays just like that. So storage wise, I think it's okay for the sword. The shield, you really just kind of put it on top. It's not the greatest, and unfortunately it's actually kind of unlevel for some reason, but overall it looks okay. So very nice. But of course, he's Optimus, he has to have his trailer, so if we just take off this shield weapon, you can actually keep the sword where it is, but you do have to move the shield weapon. You can get the trailer, and of course there is that peg and that port, and this will just align up just like that, and there we have the full Optimus Prime truck, which looks pretty cool. So of course we did already take a look at the details of the truck. We can now take a look at the details of the trailer. So just moving back here, we have lots of gray and lots of really nice like bolts and metal looking. It looks really good. Lots of panels. It looks really cool. It actually kind of looks like human-made, man-made. It doesn't look too unrealistic to see today. It looks actually like a real oil tanker, which is pretty cool. Besides, of course, the Canon on top. We have some nice red piping. Lots of wires and stuff, some nice wheels there, done in silver and black. I think they're exactly like these, but overall that looks pretty good. And up top, of course, we do have that really cool Canon, which this is the gun that I showed earlier for the accessories, so you can keep it there, or of course you can give it to him, but I will most likely just keep it there. And of course, lots of really nice texturing, lots of panels, like another area here, looks pretty good. Back here, mostly done in black, and of course if we flip to the other side, it's that same detail repeated with lots of the red piping and all that. I think it looks really good. So of course it does roll quite well, and I actually do like how you can hinge this, so you can have him making a really sharp turn, or charging into battle. Overall this looks really cool. I really do like this complete truck. Overall I really do like how it's cohesive. I like the gray and the black. It all matches from the truck to the trailer. It looks really good. Almost looks like one solid piece. So now let's get into a few comparisons. Now for 2 quick comparisons, we're going to compare, of course, Legacy Optimus Prime with the Titaned Return Optimus Prime, and then I will bring out the Platinum Digital one in just a second. So as you can see, they actually are quite similar, of course. Storage-wise for the accessories weren't the greatest on this figure, and they did have stickers on this, but for the mode, they both did turn into sort of an oil tanker type thing. But it was actually kind of interesting with this Titaned Return one, because the oil tanker was actually his legs. He didn't have a separate trailer like the Optimus Prime here. So a little bit different in design and transformation, of course, but overall of the vehicle there is some similarity. So overall it's kind of cool how you can compare these two, but definitely this one's quite a bit bigger in size. This was a Voyager class size figure, this is a leader one, so sizes have changed with the years, but also of course they're a completely different class. So still pretty cool to have next to each other, so overall that's pretty nice. Let's bring out the Platinum Edition one for a quick comparison. Now for one final comparison, here we have Laser Optimus Prime and Transformers Platinum Edition Optimus Prime. So as you can see, they are really different in size. This one, of course, is a pretty decent size compared to the Time Return version, but this one is huge. What really adds the size is this huge trailer, which does actually share a common feature with this Legacy one, which I have yet to show you. This Legacy trailer can turn into sort of a repair bay, which I will show in just a second, and this one can turn into sort of the same thing, sort of like a defense tower repair bay sort of thing, which is pretty cool. So I will actually compare these two trailers whenever I've, of course, done the transformation for that. But wow, this thing is huge. What's actually pretty cool again is this does have a light feature, hopefully you can see it, but these two front areas here glow up, so they're like headlights, which is pretty cool. And of course the Legacy one does not have it. You do need to be aware whenever a light feature or sound feature is involved, it will add quite a bit of bulk and chunkiness to it. As you can see, this front section is quite big because it has all the electronics in there, but still a cool feature to have. So two really cool trucks, both that sort of oil tanker sort of vibe to it. So overall, I think that's pretty much it for this comparison. Now let's get into the trailer and how it can transform into a really cool repair bay. Here we have Laser Optimus Prime's trailer. So this is actually more than just a trailer. Of course, you can store this with the truck, attach it to the back, of course, but you can also transform this into a really cool station. So let's do that right now. So you're just going to move this up just like that. I'm going to raise the camera up just a tiny bit, of course. Then you can get this section right here, move that up, and then you can get this red piece, move that up a little bit more on that hinge, and then you can just rotate this all the way around just like that. And then you can get these two sections here, split them like this, and how that works is, of course, there's these two pegs on the side, and there's these ports on both sides there, which is really nice and secure. Then you can get this panel, bring that down just like that. And I can adjust the camera a little bit. We can then bring this whole assembly down like that, and then you can get this turret section, move that up, and then you can get this claw section, move that out, and then there we have the whole station fully transformed. So hopefully I didn't go too fast. It's a pretty simple transformation. You really just kind of unfold everything, and there it is. And I think it looks pretty cool. So this turret section here is the same pistol that I showed earlier in the accessory segment of this review. So of course you can store it here, or you can have Optimus Prime holding it. Typically I'll probably keep it with the trailer because he already has a sword and shield. I think he's definitely well equipped for battle without the pistol. So overall, this looks pretty cool. Let's just get into some of the details. So we have the turret section there, which can rotate all the way around. It can actually hinge up a little bit and down, which is quite nice. Of course, there's also a hinge here. You can actually remove this entire section. There's just that peg and port there, so you just plug that right into place. There's also a ball joint here. There's also a hinge here, and there's also another hinge at the claw itself. So there's quite a bit of movement in this little defense tower there, which is quite nice. Of course, mostly done in red, and the side pieces are mostly done in gray. With lots of nice interior detailing. If I just get up close, lots of areas of detailing, panels and stuff. Looks quite nice. So very, very cool. So storage wise for the accessories, of course, we can just get the sword from off the side here. So if I just lower the camera a tad a bit down, there's these two areas there, and there's these tabs. So if you just kind of align this together just like that, you can just tab the sword right into place, and you can put this on the other side if you want to, which is quite nice. And then now on the other side, if we just get the shield piece, you're just going to fold this in. You can then get these two tabs here, and there is these slots right there. You're just going to tab that right into place, and there we have the storage for the accessory. So of course the same goes for this. There's the same slot over there, so you could reverse this, you could put them on the same side, does not matter. There's lots of opportunities for storage there, so that is pretty cool. So very, very nice little station. So if we just bring out Optimus Prime, you can kind of complete the look of the station, so you can have him being repaired or fueled up with fuel, you know, put some cargo on the back of there or something like that if you wanted to. Use your imagination. This is a really cool photography scene, lots of really cool stop motions you could do, just, you know, basic stuff. I think they'd be pretty cool. Really good for setups if you wanted to. Overall, very nice. I actually really do like this mode because, of course, I've really had a big problem with trailers recently, like Rodimus's, because his was way too big, and I really didn't like his base mode. I think this is definitely a really good use for a trailer, because a lot of people complain about the Earthrise Optimus Prime's trailer, actually, because he had really no base mode whatsoever, so it was really just a box. This is actually quite interesting for a trailer, so I'm really glad they did add this extra little mode in there. No, it's not perfect, you know, there's a lot of emptiness and bareness in there, but of course, I really quite like the tower and the little grabber thingy, of course, and there's some nice storage for the accessories. So overall, I actually really quite like this little base tower mode. Let's get into one comparison for this base mode, and then I'm going to get into the final thoughts and the 3 subscriber shout. So here we have a really quick trailer base mode comparison. So if you're wondering what this is from or what this is from the Platinum Edition Optimus Prime. So this actually forms a really big trailer base mode sort of thing, and it's so crazy. And I wanted to make this comparison, of course, because as you can see, this Legacy version takes a heavy inspiration from this version right here. Of course, they both have that really cool tower thing going on. No, this version over here does not have these big turrets and disc launchers or anything like that, but it does have, you know, this little grabber piece here. This section here, actually, for the Platinum Edition one, does have a little oil hose back here, if you can see this wire. So definitely they are quite similar in design and structure, which is really cool, and they do fold up pretty similarly. Of course, this one is a lot bigger. There's actually a little spring-loaded feature here, so yes, there might be some more advanced mechanics with this one. This one's a little bit more simple, and yes, this figure was more expensive, so that is why. But yeah, I just want to do this quick comparison because you can see how this figure here was inspired by this Platinum Edition one. 2 really cool trailers. I think I like this one a little bit more because it is quite a bit smaller. I think this one's just a tad bit too big. So I think that's pretty much it for the comparisons for this review. Let's finally get into the final thoughts and the subscriber shoutout. So now let's get into the final thoughts for this amazing Legacy Laser Optimus Prime figure. So starting in the truck mode, I think the truck mode looks super cool. It's actually really big and bulky. It has a lot of heft to it. I really like it. I like the nice flame detailing. That looks really good. The nice silver, of course, the yellow, the nice blue for the windows. I love all those small details like the smokestacks, the little lights on the front, the mirrors. All of that looks really good. I do wish probably there's a little bit more color and paint to the back area. It's really mostly black, but I think the tires are really good. I'm really glad they didn't use mushroom peg tires. They're really ugly. I actually like the nice pop-up blue back there. That looks pretty good. And overall, I think it cleans up quite nicely. I like the storage for the truck mode. I really like how you can put the shield up top and the sword on the bottom. The shield isn't the best because it is kind of just, you know, like a sore thumb. It just sticks out, you know, there. But the sword is actually quite good. It just sticks right on the bottom. I would be aware that you could lose it. Don't rely on that storage too much because I have put it under there several times and it's just popped off randomly, so don't trust it too much. Again, the shield is secure, just doesn't look the best in my opinion. You do have to remove the shield to attach the trailer, do be aware, but you can keep the sword where it is on the bottom. Attaching the trailer to the truck looks amazing. I really do like how whenever you attach the trailer, it looks like one cohesive piece, like it can't even be removed. I really do like how you can get some really nice dynamic, fast-moving poses for the truck. Of course, just without the trailer and with the trailer, it looks really cool. And now getting into the trailer, again, I really like how it's detailed. I like all the wires, all the wheels. I really do like how the wheels match the exact same as the truck wheels. That looks really good. I like all the gunmetal gray on there. That looks really good. I do like how the turret is on top. That's pretty cool. And then, of course, there is another mode to this trailer, which is really nice. So you can open it up, transform it into this really cool base mode, which is inspired by the Platinum Edition Optimus Prime, which I did show in a comparison. So if you want to see that and you skip to the end, make sure you go check that out in the beginning of this review. I really like the base mode. Yes, it's not the best, of course. It does seem sort of like an afterthought. The main thing, of course, is Optimus, but I still quite like it because I had several problems with other trailers that they've made in the War for Cybertron trilogy, like Earthrise Optimus Prime's trailer. It was really just a box. It really didn't do anything. You could open it up, but it was really just like a platform. It was really boring. And I liked, and with Hot Rod's or Rodimus Prime's trailer, his was huge, and I didn't really like the turret that much. It was kind of plain and boring in my opinion. It's still just kind of like a platform with a giant pole. This is much better. It actually looks like a station, and you know, there's a turret, there's a little mechanical arm, there's storage for the accessories. It works really well. No, it's not perfect. There's some bland areas like on the sides, but I really like the tower. I like it can rotate all the way around. It works. It actually adds a lot of character to this simple little oil tanker box. Now let's get into transformation. So transformation for, of course, truck to robot and robot to truck. It is relatively simple. You will get it after a while. Just on film, it is kind of hard because, you know, you might be nervous, you might be rushing. It is a little hard to film and hard to do, but after a while you will get it. It's just some areas are, of course, very detail oriented. Some areas you have to do first before other areas. You have to do them in a specific order, and it can get kind of hard at times. Just make sure you don't rush yourself and don't force anything. I've seen several reviews where someone will force something or force a piece and it could break or bend plastic, so do not do that. Make sure you check the instructions, because if it is not working, it is not working for a reason, because it's not supposed to do that in that certain time, or it just does not go that way, so do not force anything. But again, overall, after you look at the instructions a few times and transform a few times, you'll be able to get it down super easy. I'd say probably the easiest way to transform it is from truck to robot, in my personal opinion, but that could just be me. Now for the robot, I love the robot. It looks so cool. I really do like how it comes with so many accessories. There's the sword, there's the shield, there's the really cool turret which you can take from the trailer for him to use. That's really nice. Of course, they fit into his hand really well. That's really cool. I do like the blaster you can put on the back. That's really cool. But I don't even think he needs it, because he has those really cool missile pods that are on his shoulders, which again is probably one of my favorite features of this figure. When this was first revealed on PulseCon last year, I was like, okay, this looks amazing, and I love that really cool missile pod feature. No, unfortunately, they cannot fire, and then it cannot store a blaster piece on them, but if you do close up those flaps and just use the silver little pieces on the outside, you can put blaster pieces into those. So definitely he is well equipped for battle and really cool, awesome poses. Overall articulation for the figure is really good. Just be aware, of course, the shoulder pieces cannot move that much. There's not a ton of articulation. They can only really hinge in and a little bit out, but of course, mostly they are really fixed into place. The arms, they're pretty good articulation. Again, they are slightly limited because of the big shoulder pieces, but I would say the waist, the head, the legs, and of course, there's an ankle tilt. That's all typical for a later class size figure. There's really nothing restricted or different. It's all the same we're used to. So overall, this figure, if you can tell, is an amazing one. It's highly detailed. I love the head sculpt, love the accessories, love the storage. My only really complaint is, I would think, probably a better accessory for the shield. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. I'm just guessing it's a shield. A lot of people I've asked think it's a shield. I've heard people call it an axe. I don't really know. I'm just kind of guessing on that. Who really knows? Maybe Hasbro has some technical term to it. If I ever get around to asking him, I will. So overall, if you understand what my final thoughts are, it's an amazing figure. Definitely get it if you can. It's a really hard to come by figure. I'm actually surprised. I found this at Target. I was just at Target one day. I was like, what the heck? I'll look in the Transformer section. Boom, it was there. It was the only one there. So if you see this at a store, Walmart, Target, HEB, anywhere, definitely 100% get it. But of course, if you're don't want to pay overpriced, don't go on eBay and pay $100. I don't think you should. I got this for $50, and I think that's definitely worth it. Of course, for how much stuff that comes with it, I think that's way better of a deal. Honestly, if I were to market this from Hasbro's perspective, I would say it's about $60 worth. It's a really good deal. So now let's get into the subscriber shoutouts. That's what probably you guys have been waiting for. So first shout out is Christopher Ford. I'm going to repeat that again. Christopher Ford is the shout. And of course, if you missed these shoutouts, I will put all the YouTuber names or subscriber names in the description down below. I'll put them in a list, of course, with the typical stuff I usually put. The next one is Sam's Collectible Toy Haul. I'll say that again. Sam's Collectible Toy Haul. And I'll put that in the description as well, of course. And for the last shoutout is Paradox Pictures Incorporated, or INC Inc. So overall, those are my 3 shoutouts. I'll say them again just for you guys. So first up, Christopher Ford, Sam's Collectible Toy Haul, and Paradox Pictures Incorporated, or just Inc. So I will put those in the description down below, just for you guys if you didn't understand what I was saying, because sometimes I do mumble. Apologize about that. But overall, this figure is amazing. I really had fun doing this video. I actually spent a lot of time on this video because I really wanted to make it as special as possible. I tried to do so many, of course, comparisons. I tried to do in depth as possible. I tried to slow down just so you could see as many details of the figure as possible. Really hope you enjoyed this review, of course. I really hope you stick with this channel as long as you can, of course. I hope more people subscribe so they can enjoy my content. I will try to improve my reviews as much as I can with future reviews for Legacy and beyond. I hope I can continue this YouTube channel as long as I can. That would be awesome. Hopefully I can get some Wave 2 Legacy figures soon, and of course let me know what you think of this figure in the comment section down below. Also, of course, I will have another subscriber special. It will be the stop motion, which again, that will take quite a bit amount of time because it's going to be really big, and I'm super excited to show you guys. It'll be probably coming, I would say, within the next 2 weeks or so. I wouldn't think any shorter because it will be very big and it will take quite an amount of time. And if you didn't hear earlier, this figure will be included in that stop motion, so make sure you look out for that. I think that's pretty much it for this review, and I'll hope you see you next.